Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ibiam Josiah. I'm the lead broker for Garnet Brokerage Properties and Upper Light Nigeria Limited. I want to sincerely apologize for being a little like some minutes late behind schedule. It was due to some issues and technical delays. Yeah. Is anyone here with me? Can we signify? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's good to have you here. This is Garnet Realtors platform. Yeah, we're happy to have you here. We're happy to have you live. It's good to have you here because without you, we cannot be anything on this platform. Thank you all. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's start. Let's take this on. Let's take this journey quickly. Okay. I want to particularly start by thanking you all for coming on board. At this second edition of this meeting. It's a great privilege to having to share with you some thoughts and pointers on how to help ourselves in the area of sales, majorly into the psychology of sales. By the way, I cannot continue this meeting without giving due diligence and due respect to the platform, the opportunity to speak at this platform. I don't take this for granted, and I wish we can just enjoy this ride together, even as we explore every other options in this moment together. Okay, the topic before us is psychology of sales. Yeah, psychology of sales. But before we can even dive into the psychology of sales and all of that, the only real creators of wealth in our society are business and salespeople. Actually, I don't know if anyone agrees with me. This only real people who make this, who makes life, who makes every society bloom is business, salespeople. So by that, it means that business people and salespeople are very pivotal to our everyday journey in life and majorly in an organization, in the community, and at large in the society. Okay, it is not just enough to learn only the mechanics of sales. Well, how do I mean? How do I mean by the mechanics of sales? I mean to say that, yes, it's not just enough for you to just be let to know about the product knowledge, to know about the prospecting techniques, to know about the presentation skills and all of that. Since selling is a human to human interaction, you want to agree with me that there is emotions attached to selling, and because we are directly relating to human creatures, which we happen to be one. So by that, a good place to start for each salesperson is to understand yourself, your personality. You cannot do sales if you don't really understand yourself. If you can't, you cannot just do sales without knowing your personality, because your personality helps you to define your limits, your limitation, your capacity, your even what you cannot do. That's why you can always be advised on key areas to leverage on in terms of training needs, in terms of where you need to be supported. So you need to first examine yourself and know your personality first. If you are a sales professional who wants to succeed, really, you can benefit from some familiar words. How do I mean? Words like knowing that, okay, you need to know yourself. But knowing yourself is not enough. You also need to know your customer. Do you understand? You need to first know yourself, then you need to know your customer. It is with great honor and privilege to introduce and share with you our topic today, the psychology of sales. What is psychology? What is sales? How is it knitted together? What is the need? Why is it pivotal in our everyday selling? Why is it pivotal in our everyday community, in our everyday life, in marketplace, in everywhere we go? What is psychology? Why not economics? Why not philosophy? Why not geography? Why not every other? Why psychology? Why psychology? Why psychology? But okay, let's take this a little further. Okay, this topic I intend to be able to pass some information at the end of this service of this model. In this light, I feel that, okay, at the end of this webinar, it is expected that we all understand the term psychology of sales and depth. At the end of this section, it is also expected that we'll have a broader perspective to the dynamics and purpose of psychology of sales. Also, inclusively, why do salespeople need to understand the psychology of sales? Objectives, application in our ever-evolving market. Why do salespeople need to know the dynamics, the objectives, and the application of? We need to understand all of this. We need to understand the liquidity of sales. You need to understand that we all have to understand the fundamentals and the rudiments that constitutes the components of sales. In this light, we also, at the end of this section, we need to also understand, it will be seen and understand that we need to sell ourselves a helpful truth and tips on how we all can be more effective in the application of the psychology of sales. At the end, we also hope to achieve that the importance of using psychology of sales in our everyday sales experience. Now, let's take it a little further. Let's take this. Are you all with me? If you are hearing me, can you signify? Okay. Okay, really, before we can even, we cannot talk about the psychology of sales without actually understanding the journey into the world of psychology. So what is psychology? Some authors and some authorities have defined the psychology as the science of mind and behavior. Some went further to say it's the mental or behavioral characteristics of an individual or group. Some even went to say the study of mind and behavior in relation to a field of knowledge and activity. Well, these are two schools of thought. This definition for this third person actually caught my interest because when you say the study of mind and behavior in relation to the knowledge and activity, it means quite a lot. So let's go a little bit into what sales is about. We are all sales guru, and the business of sales, you cannot even start without even understanding the foundations of the concepts of sales. Some salespeople will say sales is the activity involved in selling a product, a service, or a consumer or business. Some persons will say sales refers to the exchange of products, commodity services, or delivery for money. Some school of thought will also say, some authorities will say, okay, it involves helping prospective clients or customers by listening to them. Now, all of these authorities, all of these persons, they are actually right. But in perspective, you have to narrow down sales, what it means to you. What is then the psychology of sales? What is the meaning of psychology of sales? Psychology of sales has a lot of meanings to different kinds of salespersons and different individuals. But for the purpose of this webinar and for this session, I would like to narrow it down to the science of consumer behavior, emotions, thoughts, processes, sometimes called buyer psychology. Sales psychology helps business understand why and how customers choose to buy certain goods or services. I didn't say that to mean that sales is directly marketing. No. Sales psychology emphasize appealing customer needs. In this context, it means that as a salesperson, you must understand the psychology of your prospects to be able to determine what they actually need, what they need at a time. You cannot be an effective salesperson without understanding the psyche, the emotions, the emotional intelligence of your prospects before converting to clients. You need to understand all of that. The psychology of sales success shares insights to a lot of deep thoughts, particularly to the salesperson. Secondly, to the salesperson's desire for success. And the third, the customer. How do I mean? You cannot effectively function as a salesperson if you don't understand yourself. That is personality. You cannot also understand yourself if you don't understand the language of sales and the rhythms of sales in the affluence of sales. You need to understand your customer. This is one of the most paramount aspects of sales that you don't want to take for granted. The understanding of your customer gives you a direction in how to engage and close in on him or her. If you don't understand the psychology or the behavioral language of your customer, you will just be having efforts, and all efforts. And the last time I checked, I don't remember any organization paying for efforts other than results. So you want to understand the language, you want to understand the rhythm of your clients, you want to understand the rhythms of your prospects, you want to understand the needs your customer has. You don't just want to be a preacher. A lot of us preach and talk. We read, it's good. We read a lot of books. We want to talk about everything. But I hope at the end of your talk, you will not be nailing yourself. So it is apparently important to understand that you need to understand your customer. The reason you are first employed as a salesperson or you are a salesperson is because you need to deliver value. You need to sell value. You need to give additional reason why A or B should buy into your services or buy into your products. If you cannot effectively convert or go on that journey to convert, to walking through a prospect, especially a layman, to buying into your product or services, you have not successfully conducted the business of a salesperson. I did not also say that you cannot also take advantage of other parameters to sell, but the customer importance, you need to understand the importance and the details of your customer before you can be an effective salesperson. Let's take it a little bit further. Here are some, for me, I have some critical and important sales, psychology of sales tips that can help to fine-tune and help us harness our selling such that we can effectively consummate and manage every opportunities and leads we have to value. If what we do as a salesperson is only to talk of products, to talk on presentations, to do all of that, and we are not affecting the bottom line, which is converting all of those processes into cash, into money, into the finished product of a customer, of a client, which is the ability to commit and add. Let's go a bit further. There are some key tips in sales that we want to know. It's the psychology of sales. These are some of the points that I think that has helped in the time past and is still helping with proper management. Looking at them critically, it will give us a major breakthrough and a major dilemma in consummating what we need to do as it has to do with sales. Let's take it a bit further. Okay. People decide emotionally first as a layman trying to sell to a layman. The layman doesn't understand all our techniques and sales, what have you, presentation and all of that. What a layman wants to get is value. And what is the definition of value? Is your ability to effectively communicate both in data and in figures, in data and in other spheres, why the prospect or a client should undertake a decision to buy into your service or products. So you first want to know that you are not talking to a wood. By that, it means that every human being has an emotion. So you first need to be rational, and those rationality has to be around the constraints of logic. This is what happens to the back-end receiver that you are talking to as a salesperson. So you first need to understand that those decisions will come with logic. The primary target when selling is the buyer's emotions. First, you need to understand this. The primary target for every salesperson trying to sell to a layman, not even talking of a professional, is to appeal to his emotion. Now, that is in context. In addition, if you can effectively satisfy the emotional brain of a buyer, you are way close to closing. Let me repeat. If you can effectively manage the emotional brain of a buyer, they will be incapable of making a positive buying decision. It's just to say that, let me put it in perspective. It's just safer to remain indifferent or reject now. So if you can effectively manage the emotions of prospects, that means you're buying to his space, you're buying to his psyche, you're looking at his countenance, you're looking at his response, you're looking at his energy, you're looking at his intent, you're looking at his character. You are already on a journey to selling. Let's go to the second point. Every back-end person you're selling to is afraid of one thing, to lose. Let me come again. Every back-end person you are selling to as a salesperson, the psychology of sales dictates that the person is already afraid or projecting. So in this context, the desire to gain is even lesser than to lose. Let me state this in a different dimension. Let me take a case scenario. I want to sell to you. You don't know me, and you don't even know about the product. You don't even immediately have a need for that. Now, because I am in the business of sales, I want to be conscious of what I tell you. I don't want to over project and I don't want to under project. I want to be very, very conscious of what I am saying. So in other words, the product or services I'm pitching to you must be so important in a way that I don't have to overprice or overspeak or over project or over, for the use of the word, over projection on ROI. Let me use that. You need to be deliberately meticulous in your pitching, in your pitching, in when you're selling to a prospect, because give or take, all the prospects you speak to don't have information. They have information right handy in their palm. So you need to be able to walk them through the journey of conviction. Don't try to oversell, knowing that is already having to lose. Let's move to the third point. As the psychology of sales also teaches us that the human mind is biased towards sharp contrast and simplicity. How do I mean? You simply need to help buyers decide by narrowing down their choices. This is very interesting to me because I have a practical experience on this, and it is buyers. You need to walk a buyer through the journey of decision, narrowing down to choices. Avoid to make novice statements when trying to coach or preach or trying to sell. Don't even go too far in trying to overspeak on your products, because you could be indirectly nailing yourself. Make it true that somebody, any other person can work with. The journey you are taking your potential prospects to buy. You should never try to be overstating the obvious. Who doesn't know that ever water has a cover? Who doesn't know it doesn't have a knapsack? Try and be emphatic. Try and measure on what the information your prospective clients or prospects don't have. That will be your key and your waiver to sell. Let's quickly move to the fourth point. You become what you think about most. This is so interesting. As a salesperson, the psychology of sales, what do you live before even going to coach, before even going to preach, before even going to coach, before even trying to upsell or do all of that? Do you say to yourself, your confidence level? How do you think effectively before you set out to sell? You already have to start from your emotion, your capacity, your ability to say, yes, I can deliver on this. Even if the result is not forthcoming, the right attitude to sales, in sales So we need to be deliberate. You need to be intentional when you're approaching, when you're trying to take a prospect, take a decision. So you need to be deliberate. Let's quickly move to what the benefits of applying psychology of sales. The enormous benefits. The benefits are quite enormous. One of the benefits of the psychology of sales is it building better customer relationship. If you're an effective salesperson, if you imbibe the culture of the psychology of sales, you already have confidence in your customer. Your customer has confidence in you. You already build that relationship that even time cannot change, except you compromise. So as an effective salesperson, you need to imbibe the culture of the psychology of sales, which will give you a firm and a solid foundation to ride on. You cannot successfully be a good salesperson if you don't have the confidence in the relationship you build, as it has to do with your clientele and the relationship of your client, of your prospects. Number two, it increases your brand loyalty. This is very interesting. The psychology of sales tells us with data, with figures, that if you can successfully keep at what you do with the clients consistently without wavering, your brand is secured. You undoubtedly you will undoubtedly be heard, be listened to, even without advertorial. So the psychology of sales informs us and gives us the capacity that, like an umbrella, to shield a brand. So when you are an effective salesperson, you need to understand you are covered if you increase your loyalty as a brand, if you have gotten the confidence level of your clients. That way you attract you attract direct investment. You don't even need to be talked to. That is one of the importance of the psychology of sales. Let's move to the third point. If you, as an effective person, you need to understand you employ the psychology of sales. It helps to improve your marketing efforts. Yes. You want to agree with me to an extent, to a large extent, that an effective and a good salesperson will help to cushion and fast track the job of a marketing department. By this, I mean that if you have an effective managerial skills with your clients, with your prospects, with your existing relationship, you have a larger grip on the end of the marketing department of your company or your organization or yourself. Let's move to the fourth point. And as an effective salesperson, as a salesperson that is resourceful, as a salesperson that is result-driven, as a salesperson that is hungry, yes, I mean hungry, you must know that for you to thrive in sales, you need to imbibe culture of psychology of sales. Why do you need to do that? It will help to advance your career. What that psychology does is, everywhere you go, most of your relationship goes with you in sales. This happens more in the banking industry. As an effective salesperson, you need to understand how to have a close grip on your clients, relationship-wise, value proposition-wise. Let your client, let your prospect, let your customer be able to pull up a call and say, Mr. A, B, and C, what is your view? What is your perspective about this? Do you think it is why do you think this is what I should undergo? What is the need for me? Why do I do that? Why not the other brand? Why you? Why not the other person? Why you? You need to move and to a level that a customer is satisfied with your judgments, with your input, with your decision, and with your recommendation, even your referrals. It is so important and paramount. You, as a salesperson, you walk yourself through that journey of knowing that your customer is a part of you. It's like an army that you are leading. You are like a major general if you are an effective salesperson equipped with the psychology of sales. It helps in your career. It means that everywhere you go, you are a referral. It means everywhere you go, you're an authority. It means where you go, you can effectively impact. You can effectively transfer. You can effectively do all that other persons cannot do because you are paying the price of a good salesperson, which is the psychology of sales. It helps to advance your career. Let's quickly move to the fifth point. It helps to grow your team or company. This is an aspect of your employer, of your organization you work. If you are an effective sales communicator and effective sales closing person, you must understand that you cannot function and auction well without imbibing the psychology of sales effectively. What it does to the bottom line of the organization is that it grows your team. Growth in the company generally is in your bottom line. What is your bottom line? Is your revenue, what you bring to the table. Because of you, what has the company earned? Because of you, what businesses have you become? The company closed. Because of you, what is your input level? What is your KPI that you have put into this company that will make this company go extra mile to want to resolve? Okay, Mr. A, you can't go. In the case that you want to put a resignation letter, what you will be a value, a top value person if you have a good psychology of sales. Your organization will value you. Even your team will, your capacity will grow and foster the direction of the company in greater heights. Let's quickly move to number 6. You are an effective salesperson, and you can effectively use the tool of a psychology of sales. It helps to design strong sales strategies in organizations. Yes. How do I mean? As a salesperson or the head of sales, or you're by the virtue of position, you're managing some BMs, some salespersons in your books, and they will look through you. They will see through you how that you have been able to convert, how you have been able to easily maintain, manage, retain your customer at several intervals. By the way, you cannot be an effective and a fantastic salesperson. The job is not just to get on board a client. The bulk of the job is to retain it. So you want to also be conscious in ensuring that you manage effectively the portfolio of your clients in the area of choices, decision, and investments. As a real estate person, what is your depth knowledge and analysis on time pass, on data? What do you have to tell your investor, your prospective investor, the need for him to buy into your company, the need for him to invest in your company? What is the value proposal? Why the other company? Why not a question yourself? If you can answer the question yourself as an effective salesperson, then you have done justice to sales. So you must be deliberate to equip yourself with the psychology of